Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Obviously, a lot's been made of Ethan Ampadu in regards to his performances or just generally playing for Wales as opposed to England at senior level. So, yeah, I mean, it's a rarity that you really. It's not a rarity because there are a couple cases where you could. I don't want to say he's established himself in the Wales starting 11 because it. Wait, let me fix this. Sorry, people. Yeah, I don't want to say he's established himself in the Wales setup because I think it would be a disrespect to the players that have been there, to the manager, to suggest that him this early on in his career is a certified starter in their lineup. I don't think that's a thing, if you could call it that. But other than that, he's the closest thing to it. I mean, you saw his performance. What was it against Northern Ireland or someone? Forgive me, or Ireland when he got an assist. He's been playing all right. Obviously, I believe in the game after that. I think he made a mistake or he handballed it or gave a penalty or a decisive foul. Where I didn't watch the second game, but either way, his performances have been drawing a lot of headlines. I like Ethan. His dad's a coach at Arsenal, probably why he didn't come to Arsenal. But I can't understand how we didn't go for him. He tried at United and Chelsea as a 14-year-old. Obviously now plays for Chelsea after getting some experience in League Two with Exeter. He's a very likable player, man. I mean, whether his future lies at centre half or in central midfield is another case. He's cultured at both. He's a good tackler. He's very graceful. He's like sometimes, or maybe 80 years ago or so, you would 80 years ago in the 80s or something, people would say he's striding because he very much looks at one pace, but he's very cultured. He looks, whenever the level I've seen him play at, he looks like he belongs there. He looks like he's not phased. He's a good tackler and them things there. Probably his positioning can improve. I do remember when he came on for Chelsea last season, and then once he came on, they conceded a goal which you could attribute not directly to him, but he had a part to play in it. So obviously he's still young. He's about 18 years of age. But centre mid or centre half, he's a great player, man. He's got a great passing range. He does things in less touches, which I really like. A very cultured individual, man. I can't stop praising him highly. So Wales' gain could be our loss because regardless of if it's in midfield or centre half, you could see how he could be used. He could be used in a midfield at Arsenal at England. He could play in a back three or back five, depending on what you want to call it for England. He is a player that we look to have missed out on. To be fair, there's been a lot of talk in regards to I believe either Exeter's ex-boss or ex-chairman or someone of that nature, Paul Tisdale. He's spoken how he advised England youth coaches to take a look at Ethan and bring him to the side and include him in the setups. And they didn't like him because he did things in two less touches and he didn't take enough touches. I find that odd because for me, a player that could do things in less touches is a great player because I sit here and say to you all the time, the best players do things in less touches. But at the same time, you can't dismiss that because we don't know the context. That sometimes it is more sensible to take more touches and things like that. So yeah, it's a big loss for loss for England. Obviously the talent pool's big, especially the under-17s group or under-19s. I believe now they've stepped up, under-18s. Depending on how you look at it, they've kind of been mixed around. But Sanjo, Foden, Panzo, Nia Kirby, that age group, for me, Hudson Odoi is the creme de la creme. Obviously, you've got Reece Nelson, a couple other man, give or take around that age group in it, but it looks like an L, to be honest with you. For me, the big one is Ben Woodburn. He's gone on loan to Sheffield United or someone like that, I believe. Plays for Liverpool. He's a big boy signing. I'm not too sure if he's played a competitive game for Wales or it's just been in friendlies, but I'm pretty sure he was called up. That he looks like he could be one of the top kids to break through in Klopp's plans. He really looks a good player for me. He can play in the 10. For me, he's a 10. He can play in the front 4 or 5 positions. Can play deeper in midfield. He's still got a long way to go, but he looks like he's going to have a big future in the game. So him and Amalfi are big losses. There's a lot of talk about Declan Rice as well. I rate Declan Rice. I remember when he was actually at Chelsea and he's come a long way from getting released at Chelsea. People say his future could be back in midfield because he originally was a midfielder, or it could be at centre half. Either way, you could say it is a loss for England just on the basis of a talent pool. I'm a big fan of his. He clearly looks to have jumped, sadly, Reece Oxford, who I like as well, in the pecking order in regards to young defenders or young players at West Ham, if you could say that. But I think he's a loss as well. If I had to grade them, out of all three, I'd say Declan Rice is the least of a loss. He's a good player. He's committed and things like that. And all of these sort of things. But I'd say for me, Woodburn's the biggest loss, followed by Ampadu. Either way, if all three don't play for England, it is a loss. I do have sympathy for these players because on one hand, I do believe that if you want them to commit their future, they should. But on the other hand, these players are young. Like I said at the beginning of this vid, Ethan has not even become a main starter in the Chelsea side, in the sense that when Sarri is thinking of his best side, he's not putting him out for do first. There's nothing against him. So how can you expect a man to commit at 18 years of age, considering that as well, to commit his whole for prolonged career international wise to that nation? If he's from that nation, or he's grown up with the heritage and he feels compelled, by all rights do so. But when it's like Declan Rice, and he probably feel his name's Declan, so you can see he's proud, his family are proud Irishmen, but he's also got English roots, so he needs to take time to decide what he wants to do, to be fair. So for me, he should be allowed to explore both. Obviously, not at international, at top international levels. A bit annoying. It's not like when you see players at under 17s and 18s. 1 minute they're playing for Ireland, then England, then Wales or whatever. Like it's completely different. But Tomori, the Chelsea lad, I'm so sure he was playing for Canada and England and maybe even America at a stage. So it's different experiences. Balogun, he's played for England. He played for England at the under 17s Euros, and he went off with America's same age group with America recently. So I do think it's harsh. Is he even a main? Is Declan Rice even? He's playing games at West Ham and he's clearly rated, but is he even in the starting 11? Undoubtedly. So how can you really press man for their futures? Obviously for England it will be great, because imagine you press these guys for their futures, they commit, and better players come along. The talent pool is bigger, but for him, he might be thinking what could have been. And then obviously there's the case of Zaha. Things were different. He might still be playing for England, but he got another chance and he's still doing his thing at international level. The careers are full of twists and turns and all of these things. So while I think all three would be a loss, on the other hand, I don't think it's that deep, and I do think it's quite harsh to. They're still in their teens, to kind of press them to commit their futures. Obviously, we all have different agendas, viewpoints, and things like that. The coaches and stuff in regards to the respective nations, they have every right to try and press these players to commit their futures, because they want the best players long term. Do you get it? So yeah, man, we'll see a lot of this, to be honest, and it won't end, but it makes for an interesting story. For me, Woodburn's the biggest one if he don't play for England. The other two are solid players, and it will be a loss regardless. But I ain't got nothing more to say. Guys, deluded. Please get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish. I'm out.